You're gonna have to put a picture on or something so we know who it is,
I don't know how to do that.
or change your thing from iPad to your name.
How
I
do
don't
you
know,
do that?
Stacy, how do you on this? How do you?
That's in her preferences, I think, right? She would put it in.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, you have to go into your profile, I would imagine.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
Can we do it next time?
Yeah, that's fine. Can we review the minutes from the February 8th meeting?
Hang on one moment.
Everybody has them?
And there you go.
I'm trying to figure out who's on.
Can you see that?
We can. I can.
Okay, and
Yep.
Lissa's coming in.
Did everybody get a chance to review these earlier?
I was reading them. I didn't finish though. I don't think.
No,
I'm pulling them up again. I think I did read them. I think I read the whole thing. Yeah, I think they're fine.
Yeah, after our discussion last month, I read them as soon as I got them, so.
Yeah.
So I would entertain a motion to approve minutes.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
wow, these are flying by.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were reading. Here you go. I was scrolling too quickly.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mike. And all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
And I abstain.
Thank you. All right, so let's move on. What the hell? My screen's doing
I
something.
did. Yeah, I read them.
Matt,
There we go. So we're going to move on to old business. And we have discussion of town-wide Wi-Fi discussion. Did either Mike, Lissa, or anyone else have any news to bring to us on that or no?
I had one small comment on it. I haven't done any major follow-up, but I did read that Optum is beginning their rollout to bring fiber optics to the households. What that means, when, I don't have any other information, just that they're beginning that process.
Yeah, I think I forwarded that to you along with some information. I think it was from Stacy may remember more. It might have been from COG or something.
Yeah, I remember reading that. Yep.
So,
Was
so
Optum
I
part of that
figured
too?
our feeling would be that we're probably going to take a wait and see approach to this, to see what cable might roll out and other existing companies might do before we act it anymore.
It sure seems like the commercial entities are starting to take action on it.
Mm.
So
I think we're pretty limited unless we can get, other people on board, maybe another town or something. I don't think that, well, and I could be wrong, but I don't think we have enough people that would be either able or willing to do it. We probably could get some of the business community on board, but a lot of them probably may already have fiber or will be able to have access to it.
So the one of those communications that I sent to you guys had information about, like, if you could get a certain percentage of your town to say that they were interested or would be willing to commit to something like that, that it would help bring fiber in.
that's the one that we were talking about in the previous meetings. That is rolling out in I think they're in West Hartford and Bristol.
Right.
But I know there was a couple of things on some of the multimedia, Facebook, showing people to sign up for that, to say they were interested. But I don't know what kind of outcomes there were.
So I'm wondering, maybe we put a pin in this for now, but if we are to do some sort of survey down the
I was
road
just
at some
thinking that.
point, I love the surveying, that maybe that's one of those general questions we would ask, are people interested in fiber optics? And maybe also, asking what a reasonable fee would be for that, because that's the other concern. When we were looking at, the town possibly getting into bonding to bring fiber optics to all the households, and then you would, license that out, you would produce probably the most affordable Wi-Fi available to your residents in town. Whereas if the cable company is rolling it out, we're listening to people complain all the time now about either the cable rates or the internet rates or whatever the case may be. Is it just going to be more of the same complaint saying it's too much for what we get?
I think that's a valid point, Jeff. I think, we know that it will be supply and demand, and it'll be profit driven for sure.
Right.
Whereas if it becomes a utility, it's a little bit different story. Sorry, listen.
No, that's okay. One of the interesting things I read was that in some areas, especially really rural areas in the South, they have electric cooperatives. And so actually the federal government was offering grants. And so the electric cooperatives work together to come up with a solution to run fiber to provide broadband to, all of these rural communities down there. And because they already have the infrastructure, right? Telephone poles, whatever else, or electric poles. It was obviously much cheaper for them because they can just run everything on their existing wires, right? Or on their existing poles. Whereas if we have to have, this private company come in, now they have to come in and basically ask permission and pay CLMP or whoever else for running those wires. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
That is.
But not that we want to have CLMP run fiber for everybody. That's not the solution I'm asking for. But I just thought it was interesting that that's the approach that they took to provide access for those rural communities in those states or those areas.
It does get complicated with so that you brought this up, is not all the power poles are owned by the utility company. They're owned by Frontier also. So they own areas around the state. So a lot of times when I'm dealing with power upgrades, I have to deal with Frontier for pole relocations and new poles. So we might in Thomaston might be dealing with we might be dealing with Eversource, having to lease from them, and also leasing separate poles from Frontier.
So, Matt, maybe you can speak to this or someone else can, but when you look at power right now, I mean, we have one power line coming to our house, but we can actually select different power companies to provide us power. And it's not like we're getting different power from different power companies. It's just basically wholesaling the power, right? Is there something similar like that would happen with fiber optics? And would that be a good thing?
I don't know. I think all the fiber companies right now they're fighting for space, and they're being acquired. So there was Light Tower, and Fiber Tech, and Crown Castle, who had their own separate fiber networks, and Light Tower bought Fiber Tech, and then Crown Castle bought Light Tower, and that's all been within the last couple of years.
So it went from 3 to 1 entity.
3 to 1. Yeah.
So we have a monopoly again.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, I have a question for you.
That's the same thing with our cable service though, right? I
It
mean,
is.
there's only one cable company that can provide service in whatever area. So, they make a big deal about, other private companies having a monopoly on, other things, but then we allow it for cable service, for people, which in most terms wouldn't be a big deal, right? If we're talking about cable TV. But now we're talking about internet access for people so that, our children can do online learning and, businesses can still function using an online system.
Right.
Mhm.
Matt, question for you. You being in this industry, we were talking about leasing poles. Obviously, it's probably more expensive to run underground lines. Do you see that in the industry at all? That been happening, or is it outside of what you do?
That's kind of outside what I do, but what is your question? Do I see what happening?
Are you seeing a lot of fiber? I know the main trunk lines are underground going through the main, the
Yeah.
main areas. I'm curious to know if you're seeing the outlets underground as well, but I guess it's not really in your.
Yeah, I'm not
Fields.
really seeing that.
Yeah.
All the main lines along, at one point, do you remember level 3 went through this area?
Yeah.
Those main connecting lines, which basically go between the hubs, those are all underground. They find a way to get them between the hubs, and then they branch out above ground because it's the poles are existing. It's
Yeah.
much less expensive to go overhead and than to try to distribute underground. It would be almost impossible.
I believe the program that Morisani was pitching to, there was some provision for how towns would access the existing poles. I don't know if there's some sort of legislation in place that would allow towns better access than private companies or whatever, but I think that was a piece of it too.
I think Lissa brought up a good point, though. We're dealing with not just, if it's TV, cable TV, or any TV, it as much as it's a window to the world, so to speak, but there are other options other than cable. Whereas when we're dealing with internet access and fiber optics, this is more of a kind of where our society is heading for education, for commerce, for so many different facets of our life. If you don't have it, it's going to put you outside of societal norms. So I think this particular piece is so much more important than cable TV or something that's more of a want than a need.
Moving forward, is there a way to maybe there's someone who could come to talk to us about this, or somehow can we attend something that would give us a better understanding as to where we are and how to move forward on something like this? I mean, it's not squarely on EDC to do this, although is anyone else really talking about it at this point? So.
I will say I'd be interested to know what the Council of Governments is doing. I think
I was just about to say, I could probably talk with Joanne Rogalski over there and see if they have any information that we could get.
Yes. So if we had information, or if there was even some
Or
sort of expert that could speak to us on it, that might be good as well.
Okay.
All right.
it would be better for us to be able to disseminate the information to the rest of the town leadership.
Yeah, because I think at some point, if we kind of do a little bit of the initial work and determine that there is a need for discussion and some decisions and research and stuff. I mean, maybe it's a separate committee that could be appointed, not even necessarily from EDC, just some interested parties that want to serve on that and do the legwork. So I do think it's going to be quite a bit of legwork to figure this out.
So I just want to add quickly, I actually did attend a webinar recently, 2 weeks ago, I guess it was. And it was specifically about fiber broadband, and they were talking about the percentages as far as, economic development. And I want to say it was, 25 to 35. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say it was 25 to 35% more, a better driver for economic development in that community because of access to, fiber and broadband, high-speed internet for, businesses as well as residential. So I think it is important. I think we should try to, and I will definitely try to put more focus on it and, dig more into it than I have. I think it's important for our community.
I would agree. And I think, as we move on to available properties, it might be interesting to point out too, it says, talking to someone today about it and how we're seeing, we've seen during this pandemic, a lot of people coming out of New York and moving into Connecticut and buying, properties are at a premium now, but we're also seeing people from across the country, including California, moving into Connecticut. Is part of that because of the infrastructure that we have in place, sewer, water, communications, and all of that? If you're working from home, you better have a reliable internet service.
Yeah, that's really needed.
Yeah.
But some of this may down the road be circumvented by satellites. I was listening to the news this week and they were talking about SpaceX putting up 60 satellites and trying to put a whole network of satellites around the world for internet so that you don't have to deal with the ups and downs of the terrain and that kind of thing. And
Yeah, that would be great.
satellite might take over the whole thing, which they do in Europe. They have in Europe, it's all satellites. They don't have wires strung from place to place.
And I know we have satellite service here in the United States, but is it, I think it's pretty slow, isn't it?
Well, I think they're moving on it because it was an interesting article about Elon Musk and SpaceX. That's what they're launching rocket after rocket, and a lot of them are loaded with satellites.
I mean, say what you will about the speed of wireless, but I mean, we'll look at our phones with 5G phones and how fast they're moving. They're as fast, not fast, and your 2-wire lines in your house.
Yeah.
The one thing that people forget is that the 5G actually originates from fiber.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5G is all fiber from the antennas down into the ground. No, there's no copper. We used to call it copper. And it's gonna get faster. We're seeing Sprint and T-Mobile are combining their networks, and they're going to spend a lot of money to upgrade all of those again to even faster 5G. It's not generation 1; it's like generation 3 now.
It's interesting.
Yeah, there's all these competing factors. So you wonder, if the town tries to invest in a fiber network, by the time we get it up and running, where is cellular going to be, where are satellites going to be, and where are the competing fiber companies going to be by the time we get caught up,
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point. One of the things that Morisani was saying is that, they're predicting that, fiber would be relevant for the better part of 20 to 30 years, kind of like phone wire is relevant today, even though most people don't have phones in their house. But I do think there might, like you're saying, the technology is moving so quickly and the upgrades required might be significant. So, But anyways, it would be interesting to, make sure that we know as much as we can about that so that, we can maybe make some recommendations or stay away from whatever, but it's,
Well, just to add, I was in a meeting today, might as well add it now. It's a company that was awarded a project for Frontier, and they're out of Pennsylvania. And it's a 10-year project. It's very preliminary. That was my first meeting today. It's a 10-year project, and they're trying to gather up crews and teams to start running the fiber. And it's a 10-year project to upgrade Frontier's fiber optic network. And that's a statewide project. But I'm curious, the next phase of it I'll understand what they're running, how many pairs, how fast it is, ask questions like that. So
all right.
it's in the works to upgrade that, because Frontier's got to do something about their infrastructure, as we know.
If there's not anything else, can we move on to available property listings?
One moment.
It's almost like I'm telepathic. I say it and then it comes up on the screen.
It's magic. Here we go. Yeah, that's everything.
Okay, so what are these? What is the East Main Street, 196 East Main?
Oh gee, what is that? That is, I believe that's Fletcher.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. 2,900 square feet. That's fairly good size.
Do you know what was there? Or what left, or?
I do not.
Okay.
All right. Any comments? Anything missing that we may want to have on there? Anything we think that should not be on there? Not hearing anything, I say we move on. Thank you, Stacy.
No problem. Here we go.
All right. I don't know if we have any new business, so we can move on to staff report.
Okay. Trying to think. Obviously, it's abbreviated since I haven't been in for the past week, but I've been working with the two businesses that got location approval so that they could get their licenses from DMV for auto sales for one and repair for the other. Also, we had building permits in for new tenants at 76 Watertown Road, so they're taking up a good amount of space there. That was also on the available property. It was a significant decrease in what's available there. That's pretty much it. We had one gentleman come in inquiring about the possibility of opening a smoothie bar, like a fruit juice bar, a smoothie bar. So I don't know whether or not that's going to continue or not, but
Is there a location for that, or?
they were looking, it's available property on East Main. It's near Holly's place.
Oh, the old boot shop.
I believe so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they did
Great.
do some work on that recently. So.
That would be nice to see some sort of retail space like, well, not retail, but restaurant space like that there, because there is no cafe type quick go in, go out place on this side of town.
Yeah, I think he's still trying to figure out exactly what he wants to do, because when he came in and spoke with us, it was definitely like a juice bar, smoothies, that type of thing. And I know he spoke with the fire marshal and was looking to add some food to it, which might require a little more work in the space that he'd be going into. But I thought that the juice bar sounded great.
It's not something we have right now.
Yeah.
No, and I think it really would be big because this side of town, I'm obviously on this side. There's the only thing quick and easy is the convenience store next to the grocery store. So that'd be nice.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
I
think it'll complement the ice cream place too,
Good.
Quite a bit, yeah.
Is that ice cream place, are they definitely reopening again this year?
Yeah, they're open. I think they're open now.
Now? Okay.
I think he had soup in there this week. I think I saw something.
Yeah, he was doing that.
That kind of reminds me of the other location Foster's used to be. Is there any movement on that property? I know you asked for permits at one point, but
yeah, there's stuff going on there, and there is an apartment on the first floor there. I am working from an enforcement perspective. We are a little challenged due to COVID restrictions on evictions and such right now. But the owner of the property is aware that that cannot stay.
yeah, I was actually talking about down on South Main Street where Foster's Frosties was.
Oh, I misunderstood.
No, that's right.
Jilly's.
Yeah, that
I
was
was
another
thinking
one.
Jilly's.
So there's someone living in Jilly's?
Possibly, yes.
Okay.
I haven't spoken with Matt Diesel recently. He was getting started on all of that, and then COVID hit, and so that kind of, laid low. I don't know where his plans are now that things are starting to slowly come back to normal. But that might be a conversation to have.
The other question I had with Diesel as well, the building right next to the road, the old office building from Plume and Atwood, there's some stuff going on in there, but I don't recall hearing what it was that went in there. I think it's like gym equipment or something like that. Or
Yes.
What kind of activities going on in there?
That's been there. The gym equipment sales has been there for at least a year now.
This is where? This is in
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah, the
I think
building
they
right
shipped
next to the high.
internationally.
right next to the road. Yeah.
I got you. I actually have seen their advertisements online. I thought for some reason they were in the Seth Thomas building, but they're over at
No.
Plume Atwood.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that kind of flew under the radar because of COVID and whatnot. So I just. So
Yeah,
is that the only thing in that building? Is
that I am aware of at this point, yes.
Okay.
Where are we sort of into the business relations segment here? Is that?
Probably more or less, I would think.
Yeah, it seems like that's what we're talking about. I have some of that information.
Go ahead, Mike.
Ward Leonard over on Watertown Road was sold this past month. Their new owners are an international company. They bought the property as well as the business, which is always a good thing because usually that means that they plan on staying. So, there's a lot of, skilled labor employment there. So that's in a sense, it's a good thing for the town that was sold to a company that's invested in our town. I also know that the original owner has kept that corner property as a separate piece on it abuts Reynolds Bridge Road. So that corner, I think we've talked about that corner property before.
Yeah, that's 11 acres or something like that, Mike.
Yeah,
isn't
it's a separate parcel that he's kept. So that is no longer part of Ward Leonard per se, and it'd be interesting to see if something ever happens there. Could be a good piece of property for some development.
Anything else, Mike?
That is all I have for now.
Anyone else have other business relations or news that we should be aware of? All right.
I do, if I could interrupt it, it kind of is here, but yet it's not. Going back to the tax incentives that were,
Oh, yeah.
my question here is this. If an owner received a tax incentive for their building that they renovated, and then they put an addition on to the building, and they apply for the tax incentive, they get that second tax incentive only on the addition. Is that correct?
Believe so.
Seems correct, yeah.
Yeah, I
That's-
believe it would be on the new investment.
That's
It
what
would
I
be-
thought, but
it
I
would be
wanted
on
to
the
get
increase.
confirmation. Yeah,
It would be on the increase.
It would be on the
because-
increase in the assessment.
that's
Right.
what I thought. Okay, just
Yeah.
wanted to
Now,
confirm.
the two tax incentives that we sent to the selectmen last month have been put on hold for rewording, I think, from the town attorney. Is that correct, Stacy?
Yeah, there's, they tentatively, and Jeff there was there, tentatively things were agreed to, but we wanted to, one of them was listed on the application form since it was from so long ago, it wasn't actually the correct LLC for the property, so we needed to clarify that. And then there is actual set language that we needed from the town attorney, and we did get that, and I'm going to be tweaking it a little bit, and then we're giving it back. And then my understanding is it's tentatively planned to be a part of the town meeting agenda when the budget is done.
Exactly. So we have just a little bit of a delay on that, but it shouldn't really affect the applicants anyway, as far as their tax bill goes. Anything else, Stacy?
No, that was it.
I did actually take the initiative, if you want to call it that, and sent out the parking survey to the various downtown residents, if you will, the owners and retailers and whatnot. And I did get 9 responses back. If you want, I can take control of the screen for a second and show you the responses from SurveyMonkey.
Jeff, that was 9 out of how many that you?
I believe I have to go and look. I believe it was 28 or 29 people that I sent to. And I still expect more responses back, but it's certainly enough to give you an idea of what it.
I made you co-host, so, okay.
So can we see it now?
Yep.
So just starting with question 1, have you noticed a change in parking conditions since the meters were removed? And it looks like more than 2/3 of the people said yes, they did, or about 2/3, I guess. And question 2, the town is reviewing possible modifications. Please indicate your preference for parking on Main Street, East Main Street between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. And it's kind of a little bit all over the board, although, a mix of 30-minute to 2-hour is about the same as 2-hour parking. So between the two of those, I think we have a pretty good idea, at least for the people who responded, what they're thinking. 1-hour parking is certainly an option too. And we had one person say unlimited all-day parking. Kind of interesting. And again, I think, in the end, if you kind of see who's responding to what, you may have a better insight into that. But, if you just have if you're living on Main Street, or if you just have an office where you're there all day, you might want to have the unlimited parking. Question 3, indicate your preference for parking on Main Street, East Main Street between 5 p.m. and 12 a.m. And this is where, if you look at the two of them, if you can see it, it kind of it shifts dramatically to there's no one wanting 2-hour parking, 1-hour parking, and 30-minute parking. A couple want a mix of a 30 and 2-hour, but for the most part, and that is 2/3 said unlimited evening parking. So that's kind of interesting. I think, tenants would, are saying they want to be able to park on Main Street, and the restaurants certainly are enjoying the on-street parking from that. You guys can chime in if you have any questions or comments.
That particular one you were just talking about was 5 p.m. to 12 a.m.?
Yeah, so basically 5 till midnight.
So the nighttime, kind of the
Yeah.
nighttime crowd.
Yep.
Restaurants mainly. So it's not overnight parking.
No,
Saturday and Sunday.
My next question is overnight parking, actually.
Okay. Gotcha.
And here it is, between 12 a.m. and 9 p.m. And it's interesting because it looks like, quite a few approve, 45% approve of parking overnight on Main Street. Some neither approve or disapprove. And then there's one each on disapprove, strongly disapprove. And then there's a comment that we'll read later, I guess. Question number 5, indicate your position on extended parking on Main Street more than 8 hours on weekends and holidays. Approve and disapprove are at a dead heat, and with neither approve or disapprove in the middle. So
Strongly, okay.
And again, I think it depends on the perspective you're coming from there. Do you think, this is the big one though, do you think painting traffic lines for parking spaces, curbs, and restrictions would be beneficial? One person thought no. Everybody else said yes. And I thought that was an important question. It's kind of like lobbing up an easy serve here, but I just wanted to be able to go back to the town and say, you know what? People surveyed say, yes, it would be beneficial to paint lines because I really think those are lacking in downtown. Do you currently park on Main Street or East Main Street during daytime business hours? That's an interesting one. 45% say never. And there's another one that's rarely. 2 that say sometimes, 1 that says usually, and 1 that says always. So that kind of gives you an idea of the mix of people that are using Main
Jeff,
Street. Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt. Do you know who these responses were from?
No. I don't think I do. I'll have to go and look and see if I can connect it to it.
It only went to the business community, correct?
I sent it to the retailers, restaurants, owners, and I think that was about it. I would have to go back and just double check my list again to see who it was because it's been a while since I put it together. But it was really pretty much this whoever would be considered a stakeholder downtown. So I do think there are some people who actually live on Main Street or East Main Street that may have voted as filled out the survey as well. If there were a designated parking for business employees or tenants on or off Main Street, would you consider using it? And that made me feel good. 62% said they definitely would. So that shows us some indication that people are willing to do something to help improve this situation, if you will. And
I'm trying to read it. Is it probably would and then probably
I'm
would?
sorry. Yeah. So it's definitely would is the big green one, and that's at 62.5%. Probably would 12.5% are probably one person, and probably would not is another is 25%.
That's a couple people.
So I have a feeling that probably would not. And my assumption would be is that it's going to be someone who has an office on Main Street or uses Main Street as the primary source of parking for themselves during the when you go back up to always park, it's probably that same
Right.
person filling it out. And then here's the tell. What best describes your business on Main Street or East Main Street? It looks like 37% is retail. I don't have restaurants actually filling it in at all, which is interesting. Takeout restaurants did not fill it out at all. Businesses, I mean, now we're business and office, it looks like 50% were there. And then the other 12%, both for residential rentals and services. And then I think our final question, do you believe improving Main Street parking would be beneficial to the existing and potentially new businesses in downtown? And I think we have a resounding yes in that 22% said they agree and everybody else strongly agrees. So I'm going to work on getting some more responses back between now and next month's meeting. I plan on talking with Chief Madden about this as well to see, where the parking authority and, the policing and all that may fit into this. And then hopefully in about a month, we can make some sort of presentation to the selectmen and get their input. If not, possibly can recommend some course of action and they can approve it.
Jeff, there was a comment you said?
Oh, yeah. Where do I see it? Comments, one. Let's see. Okay, so it says give rental subsidies to new retail tenants to get businesses into those areas. Please change, remove, cover those large unsightly concrete blocks on the left side of the street in approach to downtown from Route 8. What are those sightly blocks?
I'm trying to figure where that person is talking about.
Unsightly concrete blocks on the left side of the street. Oh, that's across from Elby's there where the wall fell in.
Oh.
Yeah, that's legitimate. And I think we'll see those gone by 2022 sometime, I believe, if I heard correctly. I think they're going to start work on that in the fall. So give rental subsidies to new retail tenants to get businesses into the.
What kind of subsidies would we give?
Well, yeah, that would be my question. People have said that before, but is there anything, Stacy? Maybe you could speak to that. Is there any way to give any kind of incentives to get retail activity going or getting spaces rented?
Is there, I mean,
well, we do a tax incentives.
I was about to
for
say,
buildings
yeah,
and stuff,
is
but,
there a way to maybe amend that in some way, shape, or form, or add to it in some way, shape, or form that would target specifically to retail?
Yeah,
what do other towns or cities or anyone do in order to try
I
to
can put it out to my planners listserv and see what other people might be trying to do.
Property
I've
tax
never really
abatement to owners of the properties, can pass it along to the tenants.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what happens now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how it's set up. It's
Yeah.
not really, it's more about property tax than, handing.
Yeah, personal property is not, you can give personal property abatement, I guess, but it's not that much.
really anything.
Probably not, no.
And the whole tax abatement is really done by statute, so
Right.
you have a hard time, changing that in any way. So
I don't think our current tax abatement program is relevant for
No, there would,
for subsidies. It would have to be some other program.
well,
Yeah, the only thing I could think of is if there was some sort of fund, like I know like tourism many years ago used to have a marketing fund, so that if you were doing something for tourism, you could apply to get money to help advertise the event or the activities that you were doing. If there was a way to do that, or some towns I know have like a fund to get uniform signage. So if you're getting a business sign, you could get money to help with that. But again, you would need money somewhere for it to come from.
Stacy, it would be interesting to have some input from your
I will do that.
constituents.
Yep.
Anyone want to see anything else on the survey?
Is there anything else there?
No, that was it. It's just 10 questions. Hopefully we'll get some more responses by next month.
That's good, Jeff.
Yeah, that's great, Jim.
And it only took me about a year, but at least I got it out there.
You're the survey master.
Yeah, that's me. Actually, the biggest problem with this survey, which is nice sharing it this way, because I can't do printed reports because I use the free Survey Monkey. It may be something we want to consider for EDC down the road if we continue to do varying surveys and stuff, to go with the paid subscription to it. Moving on video and website development. Did anyone have a chance to look or have any comments on that? All right, hearing nothing. Let's move on to long-term recovery committee update. And is that the COVID recovery task force?
Yep.
So that would be me again?
Yes, it would.
All right. Well, we've been meeting monthly now, and I think is it the fourth Monday of each month?
Yep.
And not a lot has changed, although it's interesting as you do monthly minutes from month to month, we are seeing a steady turn upwards, just like we're seeing throughout the state with. Whether it's vaccinations and whatnot, but I do think others have echoed this, is that we're going to be seeing the effects of COVID long after we've kind of beat the disease, because so much of the money right now is being spent to kind of keep people level right now, but once that money dries up and you start feeling the ripple effects of COVID, I think there's going to be a lot more hurt, if you will, coming up. I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts on that or not, but we are looking at, as far as the committee goes, if there are ways that either the town or the committee can assist in any way, as we come out of COVID. One of the things that was suggested is trying to create even a local list of people seeking vaccinations, so that there's a way to kind of connect them to the places that are offering vaccinations. Although right now there's such a backlog, it just doesn't seem possible. And also, this wasn't reported to the committee yet, but I know Ed Moen is working with Charlotte Hungerford Hospital to create a mobile vaccination day here at the town hall. There's no date or any details on that yet, but I'm hoping that he can put that together in fairly short order and get that out there. He's trying to line it up for seniors, but I think by the time it gets going, it might serve a lot more people than just seniors.
Good. The more we could do locally in that, like that, to make them accessible, the better off I think we are. I know seniors who are having a real issue still, trying to schedule and even just to get online. There's a lot of people out there that don't have internet and don't even have a cell phone. So which is the only way it seems to be able to sign up. So anything that can be done to help alleviate that with this mobile vaccinations.
Yeah,
or
I'm
whatever.
going to talk to Ed a little bit more about it. I mean, my assumption is, well, there's a couple of assumptions. Is one, seniors may not even have computers or smartphones that can help them through the process, and just calling the phone number is brutal.
It is.
It
It'll
is.
hold forever.
If we're doing this this vaccination day, that we could have volunteers here that would help navigate the process for them. So I think that would be one real key thing to the process. I think that's about it from the Long-Term Recovery Committee. Did anyone else have anything that they wanted to add, or any ideas as far as how we might be able to help with that?
Just a note, Jeff, I know I read the minutes that you sent out. It was good to see that I think it was 99% of the PPP loans that were given out by the bank were
Yes.
forgiven. That was
Yes.
a good number to hear. So that was helpful to a lot of people.
Yeah, and I would give two bits of good news, and it's really self-serving for me. But we had applied for PPP for the Opera House, and it was the second round. And I assume everything's going well with that. But the Saving Our Stages, which is a big program being funded by the federal government, you could not go for Saving Our Stages and PPP at the same time, even though Saving Our Stages would have funded us at a much higher rate, recouping about 45% of lost revenue from that. And thanks to some people that are involved with community theater, I really didn't have too much to do with it. I sent a few letters, but they really spearheaded it, and they got Blumenthal and Murphy and some of our congressmen in Connecticut, along with several others throughout the country, to actually get the language built into this new vote that's happening this week to cover community theaters in the Saving Our Stages. And they'll just deduct PPP from the amount that you would get. So that was good news for us. And we are actually looking now with the latest updates to be able to reopen at a true 50%, even though they're saying it could be up to 75%, but you still have to have separation. So we want to get over 50%, but it's good news for us to know that we can start opening the doors very soon.
Great. That's that's a big economic driver for the rest of the town as well. So that's great.
It is. Oh, and the other thing we're doing too, and again, I guess it's the self promotion time for me. The Opera House is actually doing a dining card. It's called Thomaston Eats. It's going to be released this week. $25. People will buy it. That $25 goes to us as a fundraiser. We have 11 or 12 restaurants that are participating in it. It's a one-time 20% discount at each one of those restaurants. And we've also created or in the process of creating a Thomaston Eats Facebook page, kind of like Thomaston Speaks, but it's Thomaston Eats. And we're going to be maintaining that, so all the restaurants that are participating can post their daily specials within that one page. So if you're looking for what to eat tonight, you can look at all 10 or 11 specials for the day and use that, and then we'll provide other discounts through that page.
That's kind of what we were talking about originally, Jeff. Something to that effect. That's great.
Yeah, I just needed someone to do it for me, so
You found that someone?
I did.
Excellent.
You can also mention your cornhole tournament, Jeff.
All right, I can do that.
Together
Yeah,
on this string.
we're actually having a cornhole tournament. It's going to be a weekly thing on Wednesday nights, starting the end of March, and it's going to run for 5 weeks, and then a big full day tournament on a Sunday, and it's going to be held down at the brewery and outside on their patio and whatnot.
And this is related to Landmark?
Yes, yeah, it's a fundraiser for Landmark. So It should be a good time. And Matt is one of our sponsors. Thank you, Matt.
Welcome.
How do people sign up for that, Jeff?
Excellent question. I'm pretty sure on our website by tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. I'm just waiting for my programmers to finish something up. Yeah. Oh,
You should have a good turnout. It'll be
$50 per person
fun.
to play. It's $100 per team, and you play for 5 weeks, and then you get the tournament at the end. So
Do you have to have a team or can you put people on a team?
it's 2 people to a team, so it's usually someone and their friend. But if there are singles, I'm sure we can fill them in. I'm thinking, if it's for 5 weeks and somebody says, "Oh, we can't make it that week," we can always have alternates who can come in and fill in for them, kind of like a golf league would do.
Did you say how many teams, Jeff?
Well, we're thinking 16, but there's been so much response to it. We may expand it out and expand the hours a little bit to accommodate everybody. So it's gonna be good. All right, enough about me. Anyone else have any good news to announce? Nothing? Wow. Okay. Is there any public comment? All right. We are 2 minutes to 8 o'clock. This might be the shortest meeting we've ever had. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Matt.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Amanda. All right. All in favor, sign off.
Have a good evening.
Thanks all.
Good night,
Have a
everybody.
great night,
We'll
guys.
see ya.